Welcome to Psyche Talks. Today, we're embarking on quite a deep dive. We're looking into some material that feels really transformative. It makes this, well, pretty profound promise, the idea that just 1 hour a day, one single hour, can fundamentally change your life.
Mm.
And not, someday down the road, but starting right now, if you use it intentionally, that is. It's a real challenge, I think, to how most of us go about our days, where time, well, it often feels like it just slips away, doesn't it?
It really does.
Lost to endless scrolling or maybe complaining about things or just repeating the same old routines almost on autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot is a good word for it. And what's really compelling about this material is a powerful audiobook is how it completely reframes time. It's not just minutes and hours ticking by.
Right.
It becomes a mirror, a direct reflection of, well, our true priorities. Think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Most people, they'll easily give away hours to distractions, right? Scrolling, notifications, whatever.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
But they really struggle to dedicate even one focus hour to themselves, to their own growth. And that brings up a pretty critical question for you listening right now. What story does your time, the way you spend it, tell about what you believe you're worth or what you truly value?
Wow, that's a powerful way to put it. A bit of an indictment, maybe. And this deep dive definitely doesn't shy away from that. So our mission here today is to really unpack the core insights from this material. We want to show you precisely how that seemingly tiny slice of your day, just 4%, only 60 minutes,
4%. It sounds so small when you put it like that.
it does, but how it can be leveraged, really strategically, to build profound discipline,
Yeah.
to gain crystal clear clarity, drive real undeniable progress, and cultivate the sort of unshakable confidence, the kind that isn't just fleeting, but genuinely lasts and builds on itself over time. Okay, so the material, it hits you right away with the central, quite challenging idea. Dedicate one focused hour daily.
Just one.
Just one. It sounds so simple, but, well, it's often overlooked, isn't it? The emphasis isn't on trying to do everything all at once, not even a lot of things.
Right, what's specific?
It's about doing the right things for the right amount of time every single day. That's the quote. And what's fascinating here, maybe a little uncomfortable, is the insight that many people don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence or even opportunity.
It's not about inherent ability.
No, they fail, the material suggests, simply because they haven't learned how to use their time constructively, how to actually direct it towards what genuinely matters for their long-term goals, their well-being.
That's such a crucial distinction, isn't it? It really highlights a fundamental shift, like the material says, moving from a life of just reacting passively.
Right, putting out fire.
Exactly.
Hmm.
To one of intentional action. It really drives home the point that significant change, it doesn't hinge on luck or waiting for the stars to align, the perfect timing.
Yeah, we all wait for that sometimes.
We do. But this says no, it demands discipline, sure.
Yeah.
But maybe even more importantly, it demands a decision, a conscious choice. It's about taking that honest look, where's my time currently going? And then asking yourself, maybe with some real curiosity, is this current path, is it actually leading me where I genuinely want to end up?
It forces you to confront that gap, doesn't it, between where you say you want to go and what you actually do each day.
Precisely. That uncomfortable gap.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting, because the audiobook, it promises something pretty audacious. It says, if you commit to this 1 hour, and this is key, it's not an hour for just chilling out or escaping.
Right, not passive consumption.
No, it's dedicated time to build something, to study, to reflect deeply, to train your mind or your body, to actually grow. If you do that, the claim is you will not recognize yourself in a few months.
That's a huge promise.
It is, and it suggests you don't need some grand setup. No life-altering event has to happen first. All it takes is something simple, like a quiet space, maybe just a chair, a notebook, and then the commitment, the unwavering commitment to discipline, consistency, and just brutal honesty with yourself.
Honesty is key there.
Yeah. This seemingly small but consistent act is presented as the catalyst, the thing that starts changing your thinking. And as we know, real sustainable transformation, it always starts in the mind. Okay, so moving on, this deep dive, it immediately zeroes in on a really powerful, maybe often underestimated part of our day, the morning.
Ah, yes, the start.
Exactly. It makes this strong assertion that many of us, we basically give away ownership the second we hit that snooze button.
Ouch. Yeah.
Think about it. That very first decision of the day, getting out of bed early or just on time on your terms, it isn't just framed as time management.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's framed as life management, setting a precedent right away for control, for intentionality.
This really begs a crucial question then, doesn't it? How does that very first decision you make each day, how does it truly set the tone for everything that follows?
Yeah.
The material argues pretty compellingly that if your initial move is one of deliberate action, just getting up your day begins with this inherent sense of power. It teaches you, almost instantly, control over yourself, over those impulses to just roll over.
Right. Win that first battle.
Exactly. And this consistency, showing up for yourself before the world is even fully awake, before the emails and demands start piling up, it builds this quiet, sort of undeniable momentum. It's this commitment, this daily private act of showing up. That's what truly separates the people who just talk about wanting change from those who actually do it.
It's like building a muscle, isn't it? That self-discipline muscle right at the start.
Precisely. Before the day throws things at you.
Exactly. And it's important to say it's not about forcing yourself into some rigid mold, being a machine, or setting that crazy 4 a.m. alarm if that just doesn't work for you.
Right. It's adaptable.
It's about thoughtfully reclaiming a piece of your day, specifically that morning time, for yourself. Using that time to get clear, what are my priorities today? Maybe move your body a bit. Think deeply, write something down, build, or even just breathe, connect with yourself.
Any of those intentional acts?
Yeah. The audiobook emphasizes that just 1 hour of ownership makes the next 23 easier to handle. It fundamentally shifts your relationship with the day, doesn't it?
It really does.
It goes from being this reactive scramble
Yeah, chaos management.
to more of a proactive construction, because you've protected your mindset, your energy in those critical early moments. Okay, so then the material moves into a concept that's, well, it's both profound and maybe a little alarming. It states, quite plainly, your life always moves in the direction of your attention.
Simple but powerful.
Very. If your attention is scattered, pulled everywhere, then your life will inevitably feel scattered too, unfocused. And the real danger here, as the audiobook points out, is that distractions, they often don't look like distractions initially.
No, they're sneaky.
Right. They come disguised as, harmless notifications or engaging entertainment or even tasks that feel small and urgent. But bit by bit, they're insidiously stealing your most valuable asset, your attention, away from what truly builds your life, what contributes to your actual vision.
What's really fascinating here is how the material presents attention. It's not just this passive thing that happens to you. It is, in fact, your ultimate power. Where that attention goes, that's where your energy flows. And ultimately, that's where your results follow.
Attention equals energy equals results.
Basically, yes. The audiobook really challenges you to actively train your mind. Train it to resist what's easy, what's immediately gratifying, and to deliberately choose what genuinely matters in that moment. It draws this really stark, incredibly important line between just being busy, which, let's face it, is often just reacting to things.
Yeah, bouncing from thing to thing.
Exactly. And being truly focused. It powerfully reminds us that real focus demands effort. Why? Because it often means confronting discomfort, facing those things you might have been, consciously or unconsciously running from, difficult decisions, challenging tasks, maybe even internal anxieties. That deliberate effort, that's where the real work happens.
It really makes you pause and consider this quote.
Yeah.
If you truly locked in on one goal for even one focused hour a day for the next year, you would be unrecognizable 12 months from now. Unrecognizable. That's the potential scale.
It's huge. It's not just hype. It feels like a promise based on that power of cumulative action.
Yeah.
So the key then, it becomes being incredibly selective about what you let into your mind.
Gatekeeping your attention.
Exactly. Consciously choosing inputs, books, conversations, experiences that actually help you think better, grow, innovate, rather than just passively consuming content that, frankly, wastes your precious time.
Because your attention isn't just shaping your day.
It's shaping who you become, your future, your identity.
Yeah. Deep stuff. Okay, let's shift gears a bit now. Let's talk about what you can actually do with this golden hour. The material reminds us that every single day you face this fundamental choice. You can spend it doing the same thing you did yesterday.
The default mode.
Right. Or you can use it to create something that actually matters to you. This deep dive really underscores that real, tangible progress. It isn't about some sudden stroke of luck or waiting for a big opportunity to just land in your lap.
No external magic bullet.
No. It's profoundly about how you choose to use your time. Especially that quiet, dedicated hour that no one sees, the time you invest in yourself and your growth when the world isn't watching.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, It speaks directly to this deep intrinsic human need, doesn't it? The search for purpose. Meaning,
Right.
the material strongly encourages you to identify what genuinely gives your life meaning. Beyond just the routines, the endless to-do lists, it emphasizes that the simple act of starting to build something, no matter how small it seems, writing one page, recording one idea, consistently learning one small part of a skill, that act itself can ignite a profound sense of purpose and clarity.
Yeah, just starting.
Just starting,
Mm.
it moves you from that feeling of maybe just floating aimlessly through life,
Which is easy to do.
very easy,
Yeah.
to consciously creating a reason to wake up tomorrow. It's like the antidote to apathy. It turns those vague desires into concrete actions that actually pull you forward.
Okay, and the audiobook has another really powerful assertion here. Growth doesn't come from doing more. It comes from knowing more.
Knowing more.
Interesting.
Yeah. This deep dive challenges you to commit to learning one useful thing every single day. And it's critical here to define useful. This
Oh.
isn't about just stuffing your head with random facts or chasing every fleeting curiosity online.
No, not information overload.
Exactly. It's about absorbing something applicable, something that genuinely changes how you think or how you act in a tangible, practical way. It could be a key insight from a book you're reading, a specific strategy from a podcast, maybe a quote that just resonates deeply.
We're even learning from a mistake. right?
Absolutely. Or a revelation from a really good conversation. It's about extracting usable wisdom.
So this raises that important question again. What truly counts as useful learning? Beyond just consuming stuff, the
Yeah.
material emphasizes it's not about just filling your mind. It's about actively transforming one clear idea into practice, taking it off the page and into your life,
Making it real.
making it real. It suggests this powerful framework, almost like a filter. Ask yourself, does this directly solve a problem I'm facing right now? Or does it move me tangibly closer to a specific goal I've defined?
Ah, okay. That's a practical filter.
Yeah, it elevates learning from just, an intellectual pastime to an active problem-solving tool.
Yeah.
Something that directly addresses fear,
Mm.
provides clarity when you feel stuck. It makes learning less abstract and more of a direct application.
Right. I like that. Okay, next up, the material highlights something critical. Your body. It holds the energy for your future, it says, yet most people, they never really access or cultivate it properly.
The physical dimension,
Yeah.
often neglected.
Hugely. This section argues, quite vehemently actually, that doing something physical every day is not just about looking good. That's a side benefit, maybe.
Right.
It's really about waking up fully, being profoundly present in your own life, and consistently reminding yourself that you are capable of action, capable of effort.
It's about embodying that strength, not just wishing you felt stronger or had more energy.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating here is how the material sort of unpacks the why behind this. It's not just exercise is good for you. It gets into the connection, how physical movement actively changes your brain chemistry.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it helps improve focus, reduce anxiety. It mentions how even short bursts of activity, like the 10 minutes you talked about,
Just 10 minutes.
just 10 minutes,
Mm.
can release specific neurotransmitters, chemicals that combat that mental fog, that feeling of inertia. It teaches the mind this crucial lesson in self-regulation, intentional action. It's like this mind-body feedback loop where the physical discipline trains the mental will
Wow. So the body trains the mind.
in a very real way.
Yeah.
It becomes a foundational pillar for mental clarity, for emotional resilience.
And the beauty of it, as the material points out, is you don't need a fancy gym. You don't need a perfect hour-long routine planned out.
No barriers like that.
No. The point is simply consistent action. Even if it's just 10 minutes of walking, stretching, push-ups, whatever, it's about actively generating energy and vitality, rather than just passively waiting for it to somehow appear.
Taking charge of your state.
Yes, that small physical commitment sets this powerful, energetic tone for your entire day. It proves to yourself, first thing, that you are in charge of your own being. Okay, so beyond these external actions, building, learning, moving this deep dive, really emphasizes the crucial inner work, too.
The internal landscape.
Exactly. So many of us, we rush through life at breakneck speed, don't we? We rarely pause to truly check in. How do I actually feel right now? What's really going on beneath the surface?
We avoid looking inward.
We do. And this material makes a really crucial, sometimes uncomfortable point. Real progress doesn't come from constant movement. It comes from awareness.
Mm.
And profound awareness, well, by its very nature, it demands that you slow down. You have to quiet the external noise and look inward with genuine curiosity, not judgment.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it directly challenges this pervasive, often quite toxic assumption in our culture that busyness somehow equals productivity or success.
Right. If I'm busy, I must be important or achieving something.
Exactly. But the material reveals it's entirely possible, maybe even common, to be outwardly succeeding by the world's standards, while simultaneously, falling apart inside.
That hits home.
Yeah. So it advocates for building this consistent habit.
Yeah.
Checking in with yourself daily, asking those hard questions we often avoid, like what am I truly avoiding right now, or am I running from something important? The really profound insight here is that the answers you need, they're often already inside you, just waiting for you to create the space, the silence, to actually hear them. It's a radical act of self-honesty, really.
That's it, exactly. Slowing down, in this context, it's genuinely a strength, not a weakness at all.
A superpower, almost.
Yeah, it means actively listening to your own authentic thoughts, understanding the emotions bubbling up, truly acknowledging your fundamental needs. This daily, intentional check-in, it's the mechanism. It helps you really understand your inner world, that whole intricate landscape of beliefs, fears, desires, because ultimately it's that inner world that profoundly shapes your outer results.
You can't separate them.
No. Without that internal clarity, all the external action in the world can feel, well, hollow. Misdirected, even. Okay, and speaking of inner work and things we avoid, this material is brutally honest about that one problem. We all have one, right?
Oh, yeah. That thing.
That thing. That issue we keep pushing aside, shoving under the rug, hoping it'll magically just disappear.
It never does, though.
No. The audiobook states it bluntly. It's not going anywhere. In fact, ignoring it doesn't make it smaller. It actively grows its power over you, stealthily draining your peace of mind, your vital energy, and ultimately, your self-respect. It's like this hidden leak, constantly undermining your foundations.
This raises a profoundly important question, then, for each of us to consider. What is the true, often hidden cost of that avoidance?
What's it really costing me?
Exactly. The material emphasizes that not fixing it is already costing you, probably far more than you even realize, in terms of stress, lost opportunities, strained relationships. And facing a problem, it stresses, doesn't mean you have to solve it perfectly right now in one giant leap.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah. It simply means acknowledging its existence, taking one small, tangible step towards addressing it. That might just be making that difficult phone call you've been putting off, or initiating one tiny but crucial change, setting a boundary you know you need to set, or maybe just admitting to yourself, this isn't working the way I hoped.
This courageous act, however small it feels, this act of stepping into responsibility, it reclaims your ability to direct your life. It shifts you instantly from feeling like a victim of the problem to being an agent in solving it.
That shift from victim to agent, that feels huge, even from a small step.
It is huge, psychologically.
And it's true, fear and resistance, they're totally normal reactions when you think about facing these avoided issues. The material acknowledges that.
Of course. It's uncomfortable.
But it strongly asserts that those feelings, that discomfort, it doesn't mean you shouldn't act. Avoidance might offer a fleeting sense of safety in the short term, it says, but it always leads to long-term damage.
Always. No exceptions. Damage to your spirit, your relationships, your progress. You're not weak for having problems. Everyone has them. But you become immensely strong, truly empowered, genuinely capable when you finally decide to stop avoiding them and confront them head on, one small step at a time.
Okay, so we have all these great ideas, the morning routine, attention, building, learning, moving, reflecting, confronting. How do we actually make it all stick? How do we sustain it?
Ah, the million-dollar question. Consistency.
Right. And the material is very clear on one tool. If you're not tracking what you're doing, you're guessing.
Simple as that. Guesswork versus beta.
Exactly. This deep dive powerfully highlights the simple yet really profound power of just writing things down, tracking your actions. It brings immediate structure and, like you said before, brutal honesty to your growth journey.
Takes the ambiguity out.
Completely. It's not just about thinking you're on track or hoping you did the thing. It's about knowing it, seeing the tangible evidence of your efforts or lack thereof. And what's particularly insightful here, I think, is how tracking builds real accountability.
Oh.
But not accountability to some boss or external judge.
Right.
But crucially, accountability to yourself. The material suggests that by simply asking yourself, at the end of each day, did I do what I said I would do today? Just that simple question.
Yes or no?
Yes or no? You force yourself to measure your effort, not just your good intentions. And it liberates you from needing perfection, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not about hitting it 100% every day.
No. It emphasizes instead the transformative power of consistency over time. And by consistently tracking, you start to see patterns in your own behavior. Which days do you succeed? Which days do you falter? Why? It allows you to learn from both your successes and your missteps, and then consciously create better strategies, better systems for yourself moving forward. It's like gathering data for your own personal evolution.
You see those small, consistent steps adding up, compounding. Maybe slowly at first, but then rapidly over time, building into something really significant. And as you witness that progress, as you see the tangible evidence of your commitment, those check marks on your list or entries in your journal, it becomes this incredibly powerful fuel.
Positive reinforcement.
Totally. It can even make you, dare I say, kind of addicted to the process itself, addicted to showing up, doing the work, and seeing the results stack up, which leads perfectly to the final point, repetition. Ultimately, becoming better, stronger, more focused. It doesn't happen in a day. We wish it did, but it doesn't.
No instant transformation.
No. It comes from the relentless, unsexy power of repetition, from showing up day after day after day, doing the seemingly unglamorous work that, let's be honest, most people start and then eventually stop doing.
That's the differentiator, sticking with it.
Yeah. The material says you don't need to be extreme. You just need to be consistent with the habits that matter. It's all about that quiet, deliberate persistence.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture again, it really speaks to the fundamental rewiring of your actual identity, who you believe yourself to be.
Oh, so?
Well, the material clarifies that you don't grow from what you do occasionally. You grow from what you do daily. It's about sticking to those chosen habits, even when, especially when the initial excitement, the novelty, inevitably wears off.
Because it always does.
It always does, because that phase, the mundane phase, that's where character is built. That's where the old version of you truly gets left behind. This consistent repetition literally changes how you see yourself. You don't just do the activity anymore. You start to become the person who does that activity. You don't just go for a run. You are a runner.
The identity shift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's how the brain learns and solidifies new pathways through repetition.
And there's nothing glamorous about repetition, is there? Let's be real. It's often boring, it's quiet, it's demanding.
It requires discipline when motivation fades.
Absolutely. But the core insight here is just so powerful. The habit is always more important than the feeling. You won't always feel like doing it. Most days, maybe you won't.
Feelings are fickle. Habits are reliable.
Precisely. Trusting the process, showing up anyway, even when you don't feel like it, that's where the real magic happens. Your brain learns through this consistent repetition, it builds momentum, and it makes everything over time feel easier, more natural, part of who you are. And eventually, as the material suggests, you won't need to convince anyone of your growth. They'll simply see it. It becomes evident. So wrapping this all up, what does this really mean for you listening? Our deep dive into this really transformative material, it's shown us pretty clearly, I think, that true lasting change. It isn't about those grand gestures. It's not about fleeting bursts of motivation or some elusive overnight success story.
No quick fixes here.
None. It is, instead, about the relentless, intentional application of just one focused hour each day, consistently applied across these different crucial areas of your life we talked about, from how you deliberately choose to start your mornings, to what you choose to learn, what you decide to build, how you move your body, what you take the time to reflect on, and ultimately, which of those hidden problems you choose to finally fix.
1 hour touching all those bases, potentially.
Yeah, it's all about making that quiet yet incredibly powerful, consistent commitment to yourself every single day.
Which brings us, I think, to an important question for you, our listener, to really carry forward from this conversation. What one consistent habit, what small but maybe pivotal action will you commit to starting today, maybe even right now, to truly reclaim and utilize that vital hour, that 4%, for building yourself, for evolving? Because ultimately the goal here isn't just to do more stuff or even to have more things. It's profoundly about becoming someone better.
Becoming.
Yeah, someone who is more grounded, more focused, more self-aware, more aligned with the person you genuinely aspire to be.
Beautifully put. The life you truly want, it isn't going to just arrive by luck or by waiting for a circumstance to be perfect. It comes from deliberate, consistent effort. And that effort, as we've explored today in this deep dive, it really begins with the simple yet potentially revolutionary act of claiming just 1 hour for yourself. Thank you for your support and for listening.